we there?
Are we good?
Do I need to be closer?
No, you're good. All right. Are you on? I always like to wait till she logs on, so at least I know somebody's watching.
I haven't attempted this. I do videos,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't attempted this yet just because I just don't know how to do it.
We'll have Jen school you real fast.
Okay.
All right. I see somebody's watching. Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome to Journeys with Judy. As I said in the post, we're keeping it local. We are in York, Pennsylvania with Barb Smeltzer. She is the owner of Life Changes LLC. And Barbara and I met at an energy healing shared journeys.
Mm-hmm.
You came and shared your gift of it's the heart
threads.
Heart threads.
Yes.
So we're going to find out more about that in a little bit. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here.
Your home is beautiful.
Brilliant. He was an engineer, robotic engineer, but he couldn't stay away from alcohol and drugs.
Oh, wow.
And so it just got deeper and deeper into it, and pancreatic cancer. And then my brother was a drinker, a weekend drinker, and they moored down at the Susquehanna River at Long Level every weekend when the weather was decent, and he drowned.
Oh, wow.
But there is no such thing as accidents, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a fondest childhood memory?
I always had a cat.
Okay.
Well, that I can see why. The cat was always there. It was an anchor to keep me there.
Mm-hmm. Did you stay in New York?
I graduated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
then-
it was 2 years.
So you came back here?
No, I got married to a man that, all right, we'll tell it all. My parents were struggling financially when I was being sent to school, so they gave me like $5 a week to go enjoy New York City. You had a dorm, so you were fed, you had a roof over your head.
Mm-hmm.
But New York City costs money, and I looked at Macy's and Gimbel's to get a part-time job, but with my hours, it just didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
And so one time, a bunch of us were down at the Village and at a bar, and there was a go-go dancer up on the stage, up on the bar, and I said, "Is she getting paid?" And so for a season, I was a go-go dancer.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it paid well, and I had my clothes on.
There you go.
Yeah.
You were just go dancing.
Yeah, really.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you did that for a season.
A season.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you met the man you married?
Yes, because what I didn't know is the mob ran the agencies for the dancing, and after a while you were working for them, after a while, if you didn't do what they told you to do, they would shoot you up with drugs.
Oh,
And
wow.
my husband, or my to-be husband, knew this, and I thought, I got to get out of here. And
Yeah.
so he was my escape.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. Okay. So, what was challenging for you as a child? Well, obviously, there was the abuse that you dealt with.
Yeah, that.
Now, I've been finding with the interviews that I do that there are many spiritual people that remember. As a child, most of us forget. We shut down our connection and we forget. Were you one that shut down in order to survive, or
Yes.
did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was connected to nature. I was connected to a lot of things that were different and unusual.
Mm-hmm.
But with the abuse, when you go into survival mode like that, then there isn't time for that.
Gotcha.
You're on guard all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Okay, so it's safe to say, childhood struggles. Did the abuse continue when you were teenagers?
Not the sexual abuse. It was more just Dad's anger would go into a volcanic, so you could be having a conversation about anything and all of a sudden you became the enemy, and before you know it, you got the poop beat out of you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And as a young adult, you go off to New York. So money was an issue. You took care of that
Mm-hmm.
creatively.
Yes. Yeah, I love to dance.
And what about now? What are your challenges now?
Challenges now are still dealing with issues that have kept me from being a bright light. You know, everyone's going that way of becoming a bright light. I don't want to shine out at anybody else. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
But in order to be that light, you have to get rid of the blocked energies.
And that's what you continually work on.
And that's what I continually work on.
Okay.
And people that are attracted to what I do, that feel comfortable with me, usually have post-traumatic stress, alcoholism, depression, all the stuff I had.
Yeah, all the things you can relate with.
Yeah.
And understand thoroughly.
And the abuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with all that, you were a go-go dancer.
Huh?
You went to school for interior design.
Right.
Did you ever work in interior design?
As an apprentice, but I found that in York, it was more like being, you helped design, but people didn't furnish a whole building or furnish a whole house. They might do a room,
Mm-hmm.
they might do the curtains and then change the sofa. You know, it's like, oy vey.
It wasn't New York design.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you wind up doing?
I was in town, in the town of Rollway, New Jersey with my husband, and his mother lived in that town, his ex-wife lived in that town, and it was the most interesting triangle. That was, imagine, I would find out things from his mother and his ex-wife that I told my husband that I didn't tell anybody else. I heard it from them. And so I decided I was going to go to California just to get out of town. And I said, do you want to come with me or not? It's totally up to you. So we made a deal that if I would stop in Las Vegas for 2 weeks and allow himself to do some gambling, that we would go to California. So I said, okay.
Okay, this is very interesting. So did you and your husband have any children?
I had a daughter with Larry. He's passed away too.
Okay.
Her name is Margot, and she's 41 now. Yeah.
Is Margot okay with you telling her age?
Well, she's a personal trainer, and she's looking
Looks
good.
fabulous?
She's fabulous. Yeah.
Well, no one would ever believe how old you are either, so we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But, okay, so you go to California.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do there?
Well, that's where I got my license for massage.
Oh,
Because when you live out there for a year, education is free.
really?
Yeah.
That's
And
fantastic.
so I wanted to do classes that were outside. So massage was available, and also landscaping. So I took those two.
I love it. Massage and landscaping. Okay, so did you ever work in landscaping?
A little bit,
Did
yeah.
you?
But it was what had happened. I don't know how we got involved in that. My husband then, his name was Larry. Oceanside, California is up from San Diego, along the coast, maybe 45-minute drive, and it's Camp Pendleton is there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right, he had a job up there. He was a car wholesaler,
Okay.
and somehow we opened up a delicatessen there.
Somehow you just
I
stumbled
just
upon
don't
it.
remember how it all transpired. And we were doing fantastic, but what we didn't know is we were competition to other restaurants in town, because it wasn't a big town.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got basically run out of town. Well, we got put in jail is what happened.
Oh.
What we did, we tried to help the Marines manage their money, because they got paid every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So we would say, all right, give us $20, we'll mark it down, and then you can have sandwiches, for over those 2 week period of time. But somebody on the other side that, decided that they were going to put us out of business and made it look like my husband was trepanning me, which is prostituting me.
Right.
And it was all set up. It was all thrown out of court and everything. But I said, I'll never be able to run for president.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got your massage therapy license.
Yeah.
In California.
Mm-hmm.
You also took some landscaping courses. You opened a deli and were very successful until
We got run out of town.
Until you got run out of town. So you get run out of town, and what do?
I decided I was going to have a child.
Okay, and that's when you have Margot.
I had Margot, yeah.
Nice. And how long did you stay in California?
Another 11 months.
That's it.
That's it. What I didn't tell you was the husband and I married, our relationship was the marriage from hell.
Okay.
Because understand, I never dealt with my issues from my father, so that you have all those patterns and conclusions and deductions and judgments made concerning men. Well, you will project it subconsciously onto the next man in your life, and so he became the enemy. And so at when Margot was, I think she was about 8 months old, Larry was dancing around with her, holding her in his arms and saying, I can't wait until you're old enough that you can understand what I'm saying, so I can tell you what a B your mother is.
Oh, wow.
So I go, we're leaving.
Wow. So you come back east side.
With my parents, yes.
Okay. With Margot.
Yes.
No Larry.
No Larry.
Larry stayed in California?
Well, he came after me with the sheriff, kidnapping, Margot, but that never went anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had left because he was very intuitive. If he'd sensed at all that I wasn't coming back, I would have never gotten out.
Ooh.
So I had to leave with 2 suitcases, Margot's clothes and one with mine. And I started working at Falscraft when I got back, factory work,
Okay.
just to build up some money so I can get a car. And then I went into real estate.
Okay. And
Yeah.
and how long did you sell real estate?
I think it was like 4.5, 5 years.
Okay. And what came after that?
I had met Steve, my present husband, my husband, and I'm divorced from. I was married to Steve for 27.5 years.
Okay.
And met him, and we dated for maybe 3-4 years before we got married. But again, I did not deal with my stuff because I didn't know you dealt with your stuff.
Right.
This was me,
It's who I am.
It's who I am.
So you projected onto him.
Yeah, and he's still alive, and in fact, he's coming for Thanksgiving. He's gonna buy the whole shebang, and this way, none of us have to make anything.
Wow, that's
so
great.
That was very nice of him.
Now did
Thank you, Steve.
Now did you and Steve have children together?
We had Nathan. Nathan is 10 years younger than Margot, so Nathan is 31. Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice.
Now, is he local?
Red Line.
Red Line? And how about Margot? Local?
Manchester.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. So
Yeah.
you get to see them frequently?
Yeah.
Your grandson is here.
Yes, Chase is here.
And who does he belong to?
He belongs to Margot.
Okay.
And then he's 13, and then I have another grandchild, Jordan, who's 21, and she's going to school now, and a basketball pro.
A basketball pro?
Yeah.
Tell me more. What's her name?
Margot, or Jordan Closter.
Jordan Closter. Who's she play for?
Well, she's at Lock Haven right now.
Is she?
Mm-hmm.
My daughter loves basketball.
Does she?
Yeah, I'll have to look her
she's
up.
good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had all these jobs. You've gone to real estate.
Mm-hmm.
You met Steve.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were married 27.5 years.
Yeah.
What did you do did you work?
For the first 15.5 years, I stayed home.
Okay.
I was a good mother.
Mm-hmm. Then what?
Well, there was a paradigm shift that happened when my son was 11. He got anorexia, almost died, and it's horrible because you cannot make them eat, and it's not just about not eating. It's about anger. It's about self-loathing. If I would have believed in demons, he was possessed.
Wow.
He would just just he hated us. But what I didn't realize till later, now at that time I was involved in the church pretty heavy, and of course I'm crying my guts out, help, help, help. And finally I said to the guide one day, if you don't show me what's going on, this is too hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too hard. And a book came across my path, Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, and basically it was saying to me, Nathan is the dog and you too, my husband and I were the erratic owners. And it was like a light bulb went off.
Wow.
So I thought, well, I can't change Steve. I tried that. I can't work with Nathan. He won't let you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started working on me. And one of them was not being a good mother, even though I breastfed, even though I had home delivery, even though I stayed home. That's not it. It's the energies. It's from the patterns, the field that we're throwing off. And Nathan was sensitive to those energies because Steve had his
stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Nathan, was all messed up because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really, for the next month and a half, I diligently tried to work on myself as best I knew how. I didn't have any of these modalities.
Right.
And finally, I remember one day I looked at him, and it was every time before when I looked at him, it was like a knife in my heart. He's ripping my heart out. And I wasn't sensing that. I could see that what he was doing was just acting out. And so I had cleared out enough stuff. It was probably a drop in a bucket, but to me it was major. He was comfortable enough to eat around me.
Oh, wow.
That was the beginning. So it didn't take an abusive husband. I'm sorry. It didn't take an abusive father. That wasn't enough. That didn't turn me around.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't take a husband that had OCD and didn't understand me. That didn't turn me around. But my son dying, that got me to ask the questions.
That woke you up.
That woke me up. Yep.
So it's safe to say that's when your spiritual journey began.
Yeah, before that I messed around with reading Edgar Casey, and stuff like that, but just as an interest, a subject matter that I enjoyed.
Okay.
Not to the point of understanding how to work on yourself and all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you saw this shift in Nathan, that made you dig deeper?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you go first? Was there a specific modality that you were attracted to?
Well, I had my massage license that I did not use.
Okay.
And I said to my husband, I'm going to start doing massage. No, you're not. You're not working on men. Blah, blah, blah. And I finally said, get over it, buddy. Right. So, yeah. So I started with massage, and then you work long enough with the body, you'll go to the mind.
Okay.
Because that's where it originates.
Mm-hmm.
Because your body is a map of what's going on in the mind.
Excellent.
Every sickness, every disease, every misalignment, anything. From chronic sinusitis to heart murmurs to cancer, Lou Gehrig's, doesn't matter.
All of it.
It's all patterns.
Okay, so you said you went from the body to the mind. So it's just through your massage work that you were divinely, we call it divinely downloaded with this information? Or did you learn from a physical teacher? Through books? Through...
I got interested in, let me go, going back here. Somewhere when I started back into massage, yeah, that's right. I started back into massage out of the home. I was working out of my residence. And then Steve lost his job after 30 years. The company closed down.
Okay.
So this place down in Seven Valleys was available. It was an old train station. And he wanted to buy it to make it like a bike, it was along the bike trail.
Mm-hmm.
Refreshments and all that. Well, that wasn't my idea. My idea was to have a wellness center there, or have a restaurant there with a chef, and have a gift store. And so that's what it ended up being. So that's what we ended up doing. But because neither of us knew what we were doing, he was determined to buy that property. But he said, 2 months we'll have it open, $25,000. It was $250,000.
Ooh.
9 months.
Ooh.
Later. And so when we opened the doors, we were in debt.
Wow.
We were in debt. So we did very well, but just paying the bills.
Gotcha.
Because the expenses were, astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
and that went on for about 5 years. And then 2008, the economy kind of went, and people weren't out spending money like they did. And we used to have spa packages where people were paying $250, $350, to come for a spa day, a couple or whatever.
Wow.
Suddenly that stopped. So he wanted to hang on to it for another couple years, but I finally said, we have to go bankrupt. We have to do this.
Right.
And I felt so down, because to go bankrupt, black sheep of the family, didn't make it, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I started getting involved more with law of attraction, how to change the story, how to look at things more positively.
So like The Secret.
Yeah,
kind of.
That was part of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Hicks.
Uh-huh.
And when I was at Serenity Station, I came across A Course in Miracles. Are you familiar with that?
I am. Oddly enough, I was just talking to one of my clients, was talking to me about the Course in Miracles.
So somehow I got a hold of that book. It's a thick book.
Mm-hmm.
And I read it, and I go, I don't get it. I want to get it, but I don't get it. So I asked for help to read it. So I read it again, and it like opened up.
So when you say you ask for help, because we have a lot of new people to this. When you say you ask for help, who did you ask?
Well, I came from a Christian background, so I was asking the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
And so I read it again, and it made simple. It was very simple. In fact, I said to my husband, because the Serenity Station was still open, I said, in the ad that you put in the newspaper to let people know what entertainment we have and what our specials are, I said, put at the bottom, Course in Miracle classes beginning. He said, you can't read a book and then think you're a teacher, blah, 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 blah. Well, 17 people showed up.
Oh, nice.
So it was supposed
yes,
to be...
I can.
6 months it was supposed to be. So 2.5 later, I decided to close it out because I was going to leave Steve.
Okay.
And close out Serenity Station. And so I found out about a year ago, it's still going on in somebody's house.
Really?
Same group, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's wow.
That's really cool. Huh.
So then I was hired by WellSpan as
Okay.
a massage therapist.
All right.
And I asked, what can I teach there? Because you can teach classes. I knew I couldn't do Course in Miracles. It was too churchy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was Abraham Hicks, Law of Attraction. Then I got into Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian version of forgiveness.
Right.
I love you, thank you, forgive me. It was 4 little sayings. I don't even forget what they are anymore. That drew me for a while. And then after that, got into tapping, based on neuro-linguistic program. That held my attention for a while. Then I went into Psyche, and then Matrix Energetics, and then it just kept expanding.
Mm-hmm.
Until came across the hypnosis, quantum healing hypnosis. This is different than hypnosis. This is hypnosis is like kindergarten level. This is like PhD stuff.
Okay.
And when I started teaching it, Dolores Cannon is the founder, and she'd always say, stick to the script. She's a very strong personality. Stick to the script. And I wasn't in more than 2 months, and people that are supposed to be in trance, laying on the table, are opening their eyes, looking at me and go, do you mind getting up and helping heal? And I'm going, oh, oh, sure. Why not? After all, it was their higher self talking.
Uh-huh.
And then I'd say, well, what do you want me to do? And then they'd direct me. And then the languages came out from Egypt and the Mayan and stuff like that. Yeah.
So
it was like a portal.
Yeah. It sounds like, the modalities were just a portal to opening you up to receiving even more.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever you got into, you opened and amplified.
Yes.
Okay.
And then what happened, about a year later, Dolores had passed over on the other side. And before she passed away, she said, I will never be channeled by anybody. She was very staunch about this.
Okay.
But when she passed over, there was and she's still on Facebook, Pamela Erlin. She's a channeler. She channels great, angels and Jesus, and just great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good. She was channeling Dolores. Dolores was coming through her. And Candace Krallman, that's the head of the QHHT Forum, that's where all the practitioners get to share their stories privately within the community, said, I don't know about this, blah, blah, blah. So I decided to contact Pamela Ehrlin because I wanted to know if what I was doing was violating the QHHT format.
Okay.
I felt guilty about
Mm-hmm.
doing what I was doing because I was doing it anyway. And when I had my session with her, she says, funny you should be having your session today because at 3 o'clock in the morning, Dolores woke me up and said, you need to tell the practitioners to expand their abilities of what they're doing. He says, Barb, you're doing it.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened.
Okay, so you have this whole toolbox full of tools. How at this point with the quantum hypnosis, how long had you been on the spiritual path?
With the quantum healing?
Yeah, how long? I mean, from that first realization with Chase, not Chase. I'm sorry, that's your grandson, Nathan. To the quantum hypnosis. How long was that time span?
Well, Nathan's was 11 and he's now 31.
Okay, so the quantum hypnosis is newer to you?
It's newer to me, yeah.
Okay,
It's
okay.
only about 4 years old.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Because you were going through everything so fast, I didn't know if it was like boom, 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 and you did all that in like a 4-year span.
Whoa.
Okay, all right, good, all right.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here going, man, I'm so far behind. Okay,
No,
all right.
you forget how old I am.
I do, because you don't look anywhere near. So, phew, all right, let me take a breath here. So when you do your massage, do you integrate many different modalities in together when you do some of your work?
Yes, according to who's on the table.
Okay.
Because the person has to be ready for what I do. And so I'll meet them where they are.
Perfect.
You can't try to convince somebody of something they're just not ready to look at.
Right.
But I do call my massages a lot the shamanic massage because they're getting involved, they're learning how to breathe, getting from the analytical mind down to the heart field. That's the beginning,
Okay.
how to quiet the mind. And then from there, teaching them as they're ready to unfold. Yeah.
So you give them tools all along the way.
Yeah. They get so much more than just a massage.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
But the reason why I'm still doing massages is because it's a gateway for people that aren't really into all this, but maybe curious, but never got their toes in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you're on my bed, you're going to get wet.
I like that.
Yeah. Because they feel so good afterwards.
Yeah.
They feel so good.
And they come in and give you the permission to go where you need to go, where they
Absolutely.
need to go.
Yes.
That's great. Now, you made a comment, we were talking before the show started, about how, when you do the work you do, when we do the work you do, we get what is for their highest and greatest good.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's what they want.
Yeah. And when we do the quantum healing hypnosis, I spell that out. I go, we're going to go with these questions, and perhaps you'll be taken back to past lives. Perhaps you'll go into the future. Perhaps you won't do any of that. Maybe you'll go into a healing chamber, or maybe we'll go into the questions. I never know. I always set that up for them in the beginning because we're letting the higher self direct, not me. I'm just facilitating.
Right.
Yeah.
So the higher self creates the roadmap as to where you go.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you had also mentioned that with the quantum healing, that once the appointment is made,
Mm-hmm.
things can begin up to 2 weeks before they even come to see you.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So when you say that, you talk about a list of questions. Okay, they prepare a list of questions that they want answers to. What else starts happening?
They'll start having dreams, or they'll start having issues come up.
Okay.
That were not
And then here they go.
What the heck? But they're getting prepped, like prepped for surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good to know. It was
Yes,
funny.
it is.
I did the show with Sally last week, and Sally does lymphatic drainage, and you do 3 in a row, and after day 2, she looked at me and said, "Now, I need to tell you that this work will bring up issues." And thank God she did, because the morning of day 3, I erupted, and I felt like it was for no reason whatsoever, but all this stuff came up, and all I could scream was, "Thank God Sally told me!"
Yeah, you
so
have to
really
do that.
Good to know.
And then plus, the quantum healing can't be done remotely.
Okay.
There's some versions that are coming out now beyond quantum healing that you can do that. But I like a person in the room, because it's not just about doing the trance work. I like the teaching part of it. To me, that's most valuable.
It empowers them.
Exactly. Because if you're just, do it to me,
Uh-huh.
without understanding of it, you're not going to anchor yourself. You're not building a foundation.
No, not
Yeah.
at all. And then you walk out of here, and you don't have the power to deal with something because you don't know how to.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What is Heart Thread Facilitator?
Well, it's facilitating, instead of laying on the table to do a massage, you sit in a chair in front of me, and your hidden beliefs, your core beliefs, are in your back. And so when I go into the heart field, as soon as I close my eyes, I see pictures of your patterns.
Oh.
And so then I'll say, do you want to keep this, or do you want to get rid of it? Because you always have to ask permission.
Mm-hmm.
Because my granddaughter was dating her boyfriend, for so many years, and then they broke up, and her wrist on her right hand was bothering her so badly. And I said, "You're holding on to him. You need to let him go. And if he truly loves you, he'll come back. Are you ready to let this go?" "Nope." I go,
Okay.
"Enjoy the pain."
Did she eventually let him go?
She did.
Good.
But it was several months after that.
Yeah.
She wasn't ready.
No.
Yeah.
There was a question I had with that, but I forgot what it was.
That's okay.
So they show you pictures of the pattern.
Yes. They show me pictures of, sometimes it's a caricature.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story. It's a module of information.
Mm-hmm.
So they give that to me, and then when I start opening my mouth and telling the story, you're just hoping to God it's there. You're on target, but after you do it for somebody, it gets easier.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
you have to bring it into the cognitive mind, make linear sense out of it.
Okay. All right. So then you ask the person, "Do you want to get rid of it or not?"
Yeah.
And they say no, then you're done.
We'll
If
say,
they
okay.
say if they say yes, then what happens?
Then I'll say, okay, repeat after me. And one of the questions I always say, I want you to give yourself, say, I give myself permission to be fully present in my body. Because so many of us, when we're traumatized, we fragment.
Right.
We're out here.
Wow.
And if you're out here, then you're not fully plugged into this body of yours. And if you're not, then you're not connected to Mother Earth. And if you're not connected to Mother Earth, then you're not grounded. And when you're not grounded, you're not a conduit anymore.
See how all that runs together?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So they say that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it as simple as just saying?
Well,
let it
they'll
go.
say that, and I'll go, "There's a color wave coming in through your crown. What color would you like to be?" So they pick the color.
Okay. Empowering them.
Yes.
Perfect.
And they bring it in, and then I'll say, "Let it infuse every cell in your mind, your neck, bring it down through your shoulders, and wherever that is." I said, "Really saturate this area."
Mm-hmm.
And then let it infuse all the way down to their toes. And you can just see the body go, phew, it just relaxes.
Right.
Yeah. Because our patterns that don't edify who we are, our authentic self, are fear-based.
Mm-hmm.
And it does this to the body.
Right.
And depending on what thoughts they are, will affect that part of the body. Whether it's the neck, the shoulders, the feet, the organs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's all patterns.
Emotional patterns manifesting in a physical way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Somebody said, "Yeah, but you don't understand. It's affecting me physically." I said, "Yes, if you keep looking at your body as flesh and bones, it gets very complicated. But if you understand yourself as energy and energy fields, then it makes sense.
Yes, and when they hold on to that emotion, it blocks that flow.
Yeah, but you've got 4 bodies of energy. You've got your emotional, your physical, your spiritual, and your mental.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have blocks in one of those, or several of those, or all of those, then they're not vibrating at the same frequency.
Right.
And if they're not vibrating at the same frequency and unity and harmony, then you're not going to be the light that you're supposed to be. You're not going to be in awareness of why you're here in this, on this earth at this time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to know why.
And that's what we all strive for all those 4 things to vibrate at the same level.
Yes.
And we'd like that to be a higher level.
Well, what happens when you connect, when you bring in the Christ consciousness
Mm-hmm.
from above, infuse your body, charging every cell, connecting to Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, and then allowing her teal energies to come up.
Mm-hmm.
It's teal because it's Sophia energies, the exterior earth, green, the inner earth, and when you put those together, they're teal. Bring those up through and saturate your body, and then you connect with the galactic energies. Mm-hmm. And somebody said, "What do you mean, aliens?" Yeah, they're your ancestors.
Yes.
None of us are originally from Earth, you
No.
know. So.
Okay, so on top of all the other things we've talked about, you also do tapping.
Yeah.
But what is a faster? I've heard of the EFT tapping. What is faster EFT?
EFT came along first,
Mm-hmm.
and what is his name? Gary, I forget his name, but the new one, the faster EFT, is by Robert Smith, and he took what EFT was and put it together with neuro-linguistic programming and came up with his composite that instead of hitting all these different places on the face and under the arms and on the fingers, you hit 3 places around the eyes, collarbone, and the wrist. And the wrist being that you're hitting every meridian, it represents different organs.
Okay.
And then you're simply saying certain things of letting it go. And what happens, doing both of them, I've done both of them,
Mm-hmm.
but I went all the way to like the 3rd level with the EFT, and I thought it was fantastic, and it did a lot of good. But I wasn't satisfied with it. I want
Okay.
to go deeper. I want to go deeper. I didn't think it went into past lives.
Okay.
I just didn't think it had that capability. Plus the positive affirmations in the oneness field, the heart field, the quantum field, is vital. If you just erase, well, what are you going to put there? If you don't put the right stuff there, then
say,
the
yeah,
old
fill
stuff
it.
is, come in again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so you were just a ball of information. So with all these things, that the modalities that you know and that you use, they work because you've used them on yourself.
You're right. Yes.
And you've worked very hard, and you continue to work very hard.
Yes, I do.
We were talking about the unraveling and how healing is happening at a much deeper level now, and things that you thought you had healed are surfacing again to
Yes.
be healed even more.
Yeah.
So you use all of these modalities on yourself as well,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Don't use tapping so much anymore. It's fantastic, but it depends on where you are.
Okay.
I'm at the point now where I use flower essence.
Tell me about flower essence.
Oh, these flowers, they're just not any old flower essence. It's La Vie, let me get this right. It's called La Vie de la Rose flower essence. And I checked out the company and have used them myself. And the integrity that these flowers are grown, and the doctor showed that is able to speak with the flowers and understand their purpose. What is your each flower has a purpose. Everybody has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There's a diva of everything. And she takes these and prepares them in such a way that allows their essence, like homeopathic, where you have tinctures. And so it doesn't take a lot of this energy. It's creation energy. But each flower represents a different component. One might be exuberance. One might be light, commitment to heal. Unity, which is generosity, healing the inner child. All these, there's what's set on trauma. There's another set on magic of the goddess. I love that one. And you can do this by knowing a person. Like, I will attract certain people, and so I'll know that I better have a supply of these particular flower essences. But the reason why I like them so much is because when you're dealing with raw emotions, you think after so many years of doing this, it becomes easier. But it really doesn't, because when you're in those raw emotions, that's where you are. Now, when you come out of it, it's like you have cleared vision of seeing. You can look back and go, oh, that's what that was. And with the essence, like I was just dealing with the death of a cat this past week, and I was taking the essence called exuberance, and I did not want to take it because I was not feeling exuberant. And as soon as I took it and I was in the heart field, I wailed and wailed. Oh my, I must have went on for about an hour and a half. And I knew it was more than just the grief of my cat. It was grief that we tend to hide and hold in the body. And it just came out. So actually, it was a good thing. At the time, though,
I was going to say, it didn't feel good at the
time. It didn't
time.
feel good, no. But it's like getting a splinter out. It hurts like heck when you're trying to dig it out. But once it's out, it heals. Everything heals, yeah.
And that pretty much sums up this work that we do.
Yeah.
It hurts and it sucks when you're in it. But when you get out of it, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a masochist. But if I know there's a reward by doing and going through this, because what you're doing, you're confronting things that you put here, you put inside your body. You're housing all this stuff.
Right.
And it's just amazing how much we can house. It just blows me away.
And how much we forget what we've put in there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know what you need to deal with.
No.
You have no idea.
No. Now, are you a believer in bringing the subconscious to the consciousness and having to know every little thing about what it is you're releasing?
There is not so much the details. Like, I've been told I don't have to go back and relive all the sexual abuse when I was a baby. But there's still some emotions that have to be released. And I wanted to release them. I thought, it's time.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. And my mentor said, don't poke the bear. So the bear, when it's ready to come out of hibernation, it'll come out. I've seen it enough that I can go into meditation. Like the other day I was saying, I am this and I am that and I am fun. And as soon as I said that, I started wailing. I go, well, I guess I'm not.
I'm not fun right now.
No, but what was being released was my seriousness and the unhappiness and the destitute sorrow and all that. And just by me saying the positive was enough to trigger to let that go.
Yeah, because I know there's a lot of people out there that, I'm working so hard, I want to bring this up and I want to get rid of it. So knowing that it will come when it's supposed to,
yes,
is extremely important, because not only do they push and they push and they push, but then they beat themselves up because nothing comes out.
Yeah, you can't make it come out because you don't know what the divine order of things are. And that's why I teach people to live in this energy of oneness, because it involves truth, light, order, and union. And when you're in those fields, it will release what needs to be released according to your highest good, not according to your mind.
And that's what they have to separate. It's about your highest good, not what you think.
Yeah.
That's the big one. And that goes for all of us. I've been having a lot of ahas about that recently as well. It's not about what I think. It's about letting go, trusting.
Yeah. Now, you will get insight on different things. Like, once I let go of the grief, which I thought was the cat, I realized that his time with me was over. And I named him Edge, and my mentor said, you named him Edge, and what he was helping you do is take the edges off your heart. You know, making it more round, making it softer. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And in a past life, when I was Mayan, he was my cougar.
Mm.
Yeah. So I was wondering why I always like big cats.
That's awesome.
And Edge will be back. I don't know what form he's going to come in, but he will be back. That's known as shape-shifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the strongest thing that I could give a person as a tool, no matter where they are,
Mm-hmm.
is learning the pathway of accelerated ascension.
The pathway of accelerated. Okay, explain that to them.
Uh,
Explain it to me.
It's learning how to bring the energies from above down and charge your body all the way to the core, and how to connect to the core with your heart, and then bringing up the energies from the earth, and then connecting to the galactic and being in that energy of oneness. But it's also reading the channeled information about all of that came through the ones with no names. That is the Galactic Council, the Federation. There are many different alien or galactic groups that are here to help mankind. And they've been working with me for a long time. Just realizing it, you know, that, oh, is that who you are? I could feel you.
Okay.
And when you're in those energies of oneness, you don't have to figure things out. And your design of why you're here, you're like a rosebud, and you just begin to unfurl. And so your essence comes out, your knowing comes out, and you no longer struggle and try to figure out, well, how do I get from point A to point B? It comes to you, because in those energies of oneness, there is no time. Linear time is all up in the mind. And yet you get everything done when you start living out of the energies of oneness. Yeah.
So relax.
It's the start, yeah. And you can have people, you can have people out there that are very gifted, but still have a lot of doo-doo that need to be addressed.
Right.
And until they address that, they are not going to get as high as what they would like to, or they're not as high as what they think they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Yes, because I know there's I don't want to say a stigma, but an assumption that people that do our work and people that light workers they got all their shit together.
Oh.
Just put it that way.
No, you become a light worker because you got a lot of shit.
Exactly. And what I say is,
Yeah.
the work that I do for my clients not only heals them, it heals me.
It's always a win-win.
Yeah.
Always. Every time I hypnotize somebody in the quantum field, I can ask their higher self questions about me, and it'll know.
Oh, wow.
Because when you're in the spirit, it's a universal knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Okay, so you gave the tool. Do you have any pearls of wisdom? Wait a minute, hold on. You also, I wanted to ask about other services that you offer. You do personal mentoring?
Yes. When you're doing the accelerated ascension pathway, you need some guidance. I have a mentor. My mentor has a mentor. We just don't see each other as often. But in the beginning, it was, help. What does this mean? And it's nice to have somebody there. And so that's what I do. I help mentor you and help you understand what you're going through, because sometimes it can get overwhelming.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To the point where you could.
What the hell? I think I'm crazy.
Yeah. And being able to gather in a community, those energies are unifying. And then I found out that when you are together as a group and we do what they do in exchange of our essence through the eyes, and it bonds you just like that.
Wow.
In unity, it's lovely. Yeah. Because it's only when you're in your mind you feel separate. not good enough, not worthy. Never get it right.
Yeah,
Hopelessness.
Yeah, that all sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
And you also hold group classes as well.
Yep, I've had 2 already with the Ascension, the Accelerated Ascension Pathway. I found out November and December are hard to get people together.
Yeah.
So what I'm offering is a one-on-one, and that whole class together was like $135. I'm doing a special of $99
Wow. Okay.
for the month of November and December.
Okay. And they can find that information on your Facebook page?
Facebook page, my contact information, yes.
Okay. And then they can call and inquire?
They can call and
Email?
inquire, email me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your Facebook page is Life Changes?
Life Changes LLC,
LLC.
yes.
And do you have a website?
Yes, it's www.mynewlifechanges.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jen will be posting them in the comments as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any pearls of wisdom? I mean, you have gone through a lot of doo-doo, as you put it. And then you have come to this place. And we have people, I feel like people are waking up and searching at an accelerated rate right now. Mm-hmm. Do you have any pearls of wisdom for these people that are just beginning?
Yes. To find a practitioner that they're comfortable with, that they can relate to, because you've got to let your dirty laundry hang out.
In order to let it go, you have to.
There's a scripture that says, "Speak to the mountain before it be cast in the sea." Well, you got to know what you're speaking to. It doesn't happen overnight. It's happening extremely fast right now. Extremely. It used to be you'd have something that you're dealing with, and then you plateau out for a season. Mm-hmm. Now it's like boom, boom,
one right after
boom.
another. Yes.
Yes.
It's rapid fire.
Yes. Yeah. But it's learning how to tell yourself a better story, because the mind has its patterns, and it's all about perception. Mm-hmm. Whatever you see out of your eyes is. And so if your database is all your history, mm-hmm. then that's what's going to be your future. That's what the mind does. It uses this database to program your future. But if you're in the heart field, that's when you can begin making these different energy fields, these different patterns. And it has to be practiced. Mm-hmm.
So patience, stick with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be boring, and it's not meant to be because otherwise I'd give up on it. You know? But in telling yourself a story, we've all been storytellers. It's just you tell yourself nightmares.
Well, you lived the nightmare.
We lived in the nightmare.
You lived the nightmare, and you're able to tell that story.
Yeah.
And not have the emotion.
The emotion is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the true sign that you've healed.
Yeah.
You're healing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So learning how to tell yourself a better story. And you can't go from depression to ecstasy, but you can go up each rung of the ladder until you look back and you go, doesn't affect me anymore.
Well, as you drop those negative emotions, you raise your vibration.
You got it.
These things are weighing you down, and as you get rid of them, you raise higher and higher.
Yeah, yeah. And when you are in those fields of energy that are oneness, what happens is your life becomes easy. Things start lining up. That's when the magic and the miracles come in, spontaneity, synchronicity, and things come to you. You don't have to go to them.
So you are in a much happier place now than you were.
Oh my. Yes.
And you made a comment before we started the show that you'd find yourself a modality and you'd be like, yes, this is the one.
Yes.
And then you'd be like, all right, what else do you have? And that's okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. If
No.
you find something and you're totally into it and that you're ready to move on to something else, you're always going to take tools of what you learned
Absolutely.
on with you. So
They were all stepping stones.
You've never wasted your time.
No.
They're all stepping stones.
All stepping stones.
Yes.
And somebody's stepping stones won't necessarily be your stepping stones.
Exactly.
Our paths are all different, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just speaks to the purpose of us doing this show. Jen and I are trying to expose as many different journeys to our viewers out there so that you can resonate. There's millions of different ways to get to that unconditional love. And
yes, that's the bottom line.
yeah,
Because then all this muck and yuck that's happening socially, economically, politically, and concerning the earth, when you learn how to work with the earth's energy, you can help stabilize her critical core, and she's also stabilizing your critical core. That's the win-win. Yeah. Because we don't have to go through the devastations, but you can't tell Mother Earth what to do. You can hold and stabilize the core, and then she'll have the grace to be able to change what needs to be changed. Yeah.
So it's important. All of these people that are waking up and are open to us. I was speaking to a friend of mine, are open to finding out their gifts and how to use them. This is all for the collective conscious to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
To become the higher vibration that holds everything in love, so that it can shift.
Yeah. And when you are walking in these energies, people can change just being in your field, because they have a clearer sense of what's going on. They're not trapped in their patterns.
And that's what people need to remember, because I know myself is, you see the devastation that's going on, and the hate and just fear that our world is so based in right now. And I think, what can I do to help that? And that's what you need to remember. You're a walking vibration, and people just coming in contact with you is going to help raise their vibration. It's not so much you need to go and convince them to do this, because that will never work.
What happens when you walk in this field of truth, light, order, and union, you can put in there stability, you can put in there clear thinking, you can put in there safety. My grandson Chase goes to Northeastern, and a child committed suicide there a couple months ago because of bullying, and then it happened at some other school a couple weeks later. And so he practices being in the field. Nice. And he puts his classmates in there, and he puts his school, his teachers, and he goes to school now, and he feels safe. Yeah.
What a gift. That's amazing.
Don't have to worry about try to convince anybody. He's just doing it on his own.
He's just doing it.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, Jen, do we have any questions?
No questions.
Okay. I want to thank you so much for having us. This has been fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been an honor.
You have led a very interesting life.
Sometime we'll write a book.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
this has been great. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back. We're not on next week, are we? We're off for Thanksgiving. We're off for Thanksgiving, but we'll be back the following week. And don't forget, you all are awesome. Have a great night.